So today we are doing a Sell Me This Pen challenge, and this pen comes from the Stamford Grand, a hotel that I've enjoyed staying at recently. And I hate this topic. I honestly hate this topic. I don't want to talk about this topic. I don't like this topic, but I'm going to do it anyway because I think it's a good opportunity for you to learn and grow, but also a good opportunity for me to get some thoughts out there that I think will help you on your enterprise sales career. Now, I just want to pre-frame in this video that this is not an individual pen. I'm talking enterprise sales. That's the thing that I specialize in. That's the thing that I focus in. I don't sell transactional pens, even if they're $500. Although I've gifted many $500 pens to our customers. Now, I remember years and years ago, I was doing a negotiation training course. I was already one of the top sales reps in the industry, and we did a negotiation course. And it wasn't a sell me this pen exercise, it was a sell me this watch exercise. Now, back then, I was wearing a Tag Heuer. Now I wear a Rolex. But my tag, I was proud of my tag. I love my tag. A watch is one of those things that, as a sales rep, you need a good watch because people judge you on your watch to see if you're really successful or you're not successful. Anyway, there's a whole psychology thing to being in sales. But even back then, when I did this negotiation training, all I wanted to do was tell the person how good my watch was. It was the best watch. It kept the best time. It was a status symbol. It was prestigious. All these kinds of things. I wanted to just communicate all of the good things about that watch. However, what I learned from that negotiation training was that that was actually the wrong thing to do, because each human being has their own set of needs and drivers and wants and fears and insecurities, and they might be scared of what their boss might think if they choose the wrong solution. All of these things might be happening in your prospect's mind. And so if you're going to go out there and start talking about certain things that aren't going to resonate with the prospect, what's going to happen is that prospect is going to zone out. They're going to disengage from the conversation. And how can you sell something when your customer is disengaged in the conversation? This is the thing that happens to a lot of salespeople. They communicate in a way that makes their customers' walls come up, and they block their ears and they don't want to listen anymore. They want to get out of this conversation because they're busy people. They want to get out of this conversation because they're busy people and their time is really important. So you have to be very respectful about that as an enterprise salesperson. So the first thing that you need to learn from the Sell Me This Pen exercise is, number one, shut up. Don't go with the need or the desire to want to tell them about the pen. No, that's not what you need to be doing in this exercise. The first thing you need to be doing in the exercise is understanding more about the customer, understanding more about the customer's unique situation. So if the customer says, sell me this pen, the first thing you might say is a curiosity-based question. So let's use curiosity as the first part of our sales process. Become very curious and ask pointed questions about what the customer's there for. So the customer says to you, sell me this pen. So out of interest, is this the first shop that you're looking at a pen for? Or out of interest, is this a pen that you've had your eye on for some time? Out of interest, what led you to need a pen? And through the process of curiosity, starting to listen to your customer's answers will give you a sense of current state so that you know what you're going to be positioning in the future state. So what is it that the customer wants to get to? Well, first you need to understand a little bit more about what they're going through. In the Empower methodology, we have a 2-day certification called the Empower process. We're finding out what's going on in this particular moment. That's what the M stands for in Empower. So we're figuring out what this moment looks like for them so that we can propel them to the future and give them the future that they want. That's what sales is really about, is about equipping and enabling and empowering your customers to get what it is that they want. That is what sales is all about. Now, I'm not going to be able to cover the entire Empower methodology in this particular video. However, what you need to walk away with is the understanding that oftentimes we're trying so hard to sell that it's not about the sale at all. What it's about is the customer buying. This is what we call empathetic sales. So our mission as an organization is to humanize the sales process, because the industry is full of people that are very self-centered and arrogant and only thinking about themselves and only thinking about their commission. But what sales is really about is empowering transformation for your clients. And so the second thing you need to walk away with on this video is understanding the customer's buying process. That is one of the most critical things that people leave out. So once you understand a little bit more about the curiosity-based questions and understanding what the customer actually wants, that's where we can now, after skipped a few stages in the middle, but now we can start to understand the customer's buying process. So to help me understand, when do you need the pens for? And again, think about the context of enterprise sales. So this person probably wants to buy 1,000 pens, not just one pen. In the context of enterprise sales, you need to understand. So tell me, when you're making a decision like purchasing pens, is this something that you do on your own, or do you need to work with other individuals to get approval to buy this pen? And the customer might say, well, I've got to get my boss on a call to start to look at this pen and all this kind of stuff. And that's when you now are starting to realize that this individual might not be your decision maker. They might be a coach. And so you now need to start asking questions about their boss. So tell me a little bit about your boss. Has that person bought pens before? What do you think that individual would need to get across the line? Or what do you think that individual would need to make a purchasing decision for these pens? If it was your decision and your decision alone, is this the pen that you would want to choose? Another great one is saying things like, so tell me, your boss is probably a busy man. Why would he not just say, you know what, this pen purchase, we can just wait 6 months, 12 months later. I'm not interested right now. Why do you think he or she needs to do something right now? Now, through that line of questioning, we can all of a sudden start to understand more about the true buyer, because in B2B enterprise sales, you don't just have one decision maker to please. You have multiple decision makers. We call them decision committees now within organizations, that you need to understand all of their different motivations and drivers so that you can get this large scale pen deal across the line. And so through understanding that individual is now a coach, you can start to get some coaching from that individual as to how to position those pens more effectively up the channel. And again, another question on buying process. When you're making a decision for the purchase of pens, are there any procurement guidelines you need to stick within? Now, by asking this question, you'll start to understand whether they have a $50 budget for pens or whether they have a $500,000 budget for pens, and therefore you can position or appropriate the right solution for this individual. Now, of course, I've missed a whole bunch of steps, because in a good enterprise sale, you will ask a lot more questions, such as, tell me, what will these pens be used for? Are you looking for something more functional, or are you looking for something a little bit more prestigious to give you a bit more status? So in an enterprise sale, you can ask a lot of questions to try to flesh out whether the customer fits with your unique selling proposition and the thing that makes you different. If you're a luxury brand, you always want to talk about how customers are making purchasing decisions and whether you're tapping into the ego side of them. I remember once with a $3.2 million deal, I asked a customer, and I wrote about this in my book, $1 Million Deals, how a customer makes their cybersecurity purchasing decisions, whether they want to go through with a partner line by line and tick every box, or do they want someone that's just going to deploy blanket protection and just tick the box because they're not interested in the line by line. I had to ask that question because we were 7 times more expensive than the next competitor. And so it's very important that I start fleshing these things out early so that I knew whether it was an opportunity to invest my time into and whether to invest their time into our conversation and our dialogue. I didn't want to lead the customer astray by having these conversations. So by putting the customer first, we were able to have a lot more of a robust, honest, transparent conversation, and that really helped us throughout the deal. Now, you should read my book, $1 Million Deals, because I describe that scenario in a lot more detail. And there's so many insights you can flesh out, and I've left a link to that book for free, download for free, in the comments below. So now that I've gone through a couple of different things that you need to understand in order to do Sell Me This Pen successfully, then you want to give them an elegant proposition which is based on what they told you. If their proposition is that they just want a good pen, they don't want the luxurious feel, then what you can say to them is that this pen is what we call the pen for everyday use. It's the pen that helps you stay within your budget, because you told me your budget was really important, but it also has good longevity and it has good weight and good feel, which is what you said you wanted. And so this is the pen that I recommend for you. Why don't you have a try? Why don't you test it out yourself? Or you could say, does that sound like what you've told me that you want? Are they the drivers that you've specifically mentioned? By taking what the customer has given you, you can show that you're a good active listener, and that will help you cement the deal, because the truth is that customers buy when they feel heard, when they feel trust, when they see that their future can be realized by working with you, your product or your service. That's how you're going to get the deal. It's not by, this is the black pen and it's from the Stanford Grand and blah, blah, blah. Like, no, nobody cares about that. Remember, the first thing I said is shut up. And so if you ask better questions of the customer, then you will have a much more successful sales career. Thank you.